Hello everybody, we're here at RemoteCon with yet another very interesting product demo on remote work tools. Here with us now we have Meetingroom, a VR space where colleagues from around the world can gather and discuss business as if they were in the same old plain multi-purpose room. This is a virtual meetings room platform that lets teams get virtually face-to-face and collaborate over distance with presence. Aside from peer interaction, if you work on a whiteboard in Meetingroom, you can save out that whiteboard for later. You can copy-paste it into your Slack notes or copy-paste it to an email. Wherever the flow exists, it's just there. Founded in Ireland in 2017 by Johnny Cosgrove, Paul Gullett, and Dr. Abraham Campbell, one thing they found out that everybody can agree on is that collaboration is easier and it's more effective when teams work together in the same place. So they started Meetingroom as a service that allows people to work with each other using familiar meeting room facilities in a virtual environment from anywhere. So when you write on a whiteboard and return the next week, it's still there, just like in real life. For our demo here today, we have Johnny Cosgrove, the CEO of Meetingroom. Hello, Johnny. Nice to have you.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
So you started this company quite a long time ago when remote work was still rare. How could you tell this that such a service would be needed?
So when we started the business, we decided to focus in on the enterprise side of things. And what we found in enterprise is that remote work isn't a new thing. It's been around for a little while, in the plus 30 years mark for some of these companies. They just call it work. So it's been amazing seeing the growth, not just for the last 3 months, but over the last number of years in people's appreciation for not just remote work, but the balance and all the good things that come from it, as well as the bad. So when we kicked things off, we knew we were a little bit early in terms of the VR collaboration market itself. We were still working with tethered headsets, so wired up and looking like you're something out of Star Trek. Now it's gotten a little bit easier over the last year. As we've seen people get used to using headsets, they're a little bit more friction-free. And what we've really seen since the start of the year is an explosion in interest. Prior to COVID, there was already a wave of people waking up to the possibility. And now since then, it's been an interesting few months.
Can you actually show us a bit through how the platform looks and how the product looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do a share screen here now and just show you what's going on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick step through of what's going on here in Meetingroom. So everyone attends Meetingroom, driving a little bit of a different kind of car to their meetings, the form of an avatar. And we allow people to look enough like themselves so they can be represented and come in and participate in their meetings. And in these meetings, we represent some things that come from normal everyday office life to some things that aren't quite so normal, from your presentations and agendas like you're seeing here in front of us, right through to bringing in 3D models and 360 images. So you can go out and do site visits, you can bring people together, and as we're seeing here right now, you can whiteboard together, you can brainstorm, you can allow teams to really get together and focus on solving a problem and getting that problem out on the table, all from anywhere. What you can also do on this whiteboard, as you're seeing here in front of us, is bringing up a few different templates to help you kickstart your meetings and really help you prove the value of true collaboration. And when you bring in tools like we're seeing here in front of us, a 3D model, you can not only get people to see what it looks like, but also to appreciate the depth and the scope of what might be involved in working with models such as this, or being out on site in different parts of the world. So really sharing context and helping people share that intelligence throughout the organization is key for us. In terms of what else you can do at Meetingroom, really, really simple, as well as bringing in laser pointers here, another tool to let people really point out the difference in what's going on in a meeting. We just focus on high participation, groups of 3 to 20 people coming in for highly collaborative spaces. You're not coming into one of these meetings to hang around. You're not coming in on a one-on-one call like we're doing right now. You're not going in on a one-to-many like a webinar. You're probably coming in 3 to 20 people where everyone's coming with high energy, looking to share and participate and solve real problems. And what I'll do now is show you just very quickly what it looks like when you're coming in from a desktop. Obviously, we're a virtual reality platform, so we do recommend people coming in from their VR headset, like the Quest I've got on here now, which I'll pop on after we go off share screen to, I'll look silly first. The point is you can come into these rooms, you can work through different documents that we've got here. You can do all the bits and pieces we're showing off really quickly, but the point is you can keep everyone on the same page. And we've really focused on making sure that this isn't just for everyone who's quite techy in a business. If anything, it's actually the adopters of this are not necessarily the engineers. The adopters aren't necessarily the tech department. The adopters of this are decision makers, people who are looking to really make real world decisions and make sure that people can actually come in and do that. That's our focus. Making sure that you can, let everyone come in and get a slightly different kind of point of view, whatever the case may be, and whatever the tool or use case. The real driving point is the rooms I'm showing you today are not necessarily the rooms that all of our clients use every day. They've come in with us and they've designed and built different.
Who are the usual clients, or who's your client base in this?
Yeah, so what you can see here is, one second, I'm going to show you a little bit what's going on. So we have some people who come in, and again, I'm showing you features today, but what really people come in and do is you've got some people who are coming in and they're coming to do site visits. You've got some people who are trying to do simple things. I got shown this the last day and I have to show it off. Someone brought us into what they entitled this room, as they called it, the death of a PowerPoint. It was a black hole. And they showed us about what they were trying to do with this kind of platform, which was further their storytelling ability, allow people to really come in and not just stare at, a PowerPoint presentation. They are still going to be part of work in the future. We won't be focusing on that. The point is, when people really want to set a context, set a mood, whatever that case may be, people build those rooms around it. So this room originally was built for site visits like you were on just a second ago. Mm-hmm. And what we've seen it evolve into is lots of different use cases, but all based around simple, basic, intuitive features. So allowing you to get into a meeting really, really simply and get in to do what you're looking to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think I'll stop sharing now and come back to full screen there. There we go.
Let's say the obvious question is here, VR glasses are a device that have been around for a while now. Their adoption, though, is maybe still not that widely spread. Do you think this may be, let's say, an obstacle in Meetingroom development, or how do you plan to adapt to it or to go about it?
Yes, so for us, we are VR first by design, but we also work cross-platform. So we tier it in terms of, our recommended entry is via VR headset, obviously, for these things. Mm-hmm. And linked to your question, we don't see a limitation in the enterprise space where we operate. A lot of the queries and worries are very much in the consumer space, and to be honest, that'll come in good time. Where we're focused is working with Fortune 500 companies is our primary market we work with, and they're adopting this at scale at the moment. And the marked difference over the last 3 years is nothing to do with the last 3 months. It's to do with what's been a growing trend, which is friction-free devices that you can get into at a reasonable, scalable price. And the big thing that we're seeing right now is companies moving from we should probably try that to, we're falling behind. And what we really focus on is not necessarily saying, how can we fix your COVID problem, which has been coming up a bit over the last few months, not for just our company, but anybody providing collaboration and communication tools. And the point that we've really focused in on people is separating out what is communication and what is collaboration. They are two fundamentally different things, and we fall under collaboration. What we really help people do is not fit into every single meeting you run today. We've got video calls just like we're doing right now for that, and they work perfectly fine when it's one-on-one. Where we come into our own is when there's 3 or more people getting around the space, getting around the problem, getting around the table, where you want to know whose turn it is to speak. Not by some fancy technology, but using spatial sound, and all that's really doing is letting people sound like you're to my left or you're to my right, and making it easier for the brain to engage, and not doing as much work as it's doing on calls like this when the Brady Bunch are there. Whose turn is it to speak? Is it my turn to speak? All those little things, they're what's erased. So cutting out that 20% of the time your brain is spending on every single video call, trying to figure out, is your head the right shape? And all these little bits and pieces. We remove that by using our avatars, which are really basic by design. We've actually just been published on our research using virtual reality versus Skype for Business, which back when we did this study was the primary means that a lot of enterprise use. Obviously, that's changed in the last 2 years to Teams, Zoom, and lots of different things around that, like Slack. And where it really comes into its own is, again, collaboration, where you want to make sure that everyone's involved, everyone is engaged, and everyone has the ability to participate in an equal way.
From the user's experience and like from your actual clients, what's the feedback that you get? How easy is the adoption within a company? I'm assuming you have people of all ages kind of using your tool. I'm a bit curious there of how they are reacting to it.
Yeah, so we work really strongly on making sure that it's introduced to the company the right way, as opposed to just firing everyone technology and saying, "Hey, I will make myself silly now. Hey, everyone, let's get into a virtual reality headset and go to work." Not always necessarily the first thing people think of when they think of virtual reality or work, and putting those two things together can be interesting, but the results speak for themselves. What we've focused on is developing a really simple, process called VR for Work, which allows companies to adopt in a simple manner, which starts off with, let's prove the value of this kind of solution. In yes or no, they're both completely perfect answers, because what we try and do is help people find the fit. And in terms of adopting within, we have resources like our online academy for helping people actually get used to not just using our tool, but also maybe using headsets like I was just showing you there. And I'm not just talking about the basic, here's where the power button is. Simple things like what we call our insider tips from living in here for a little bit longer than other people. Making sure that you have the right fit, making sure that you know how to work this into your day. A big driver for our company is not that we're going to have you living in VR headsets all day. Let me be really, really clear with that. I want you to spend more time in your real life, be it work or home life, and having that real balance and letting people get back to work. Because that's not only important for the employee, mindset point of view, but also from the employer point of view. Making sure that bridging all these different divides that are really rearing their ugly heads at the moment in terms of when people don't plan, when people react, when we're not, adjusting to something new, it's being thrown upon us. So when it comes to, and I'm not just talking about the last 3 months and what everyone's been going through, I mean in terms of when any new technology is coming on board, what our team has a huge amount of experience in is helping people handhold through all those early stages and later stages. And essentially, call me your digital concierge, because that's how we act from start to finish. We make sure that people learn how to adopt this, learn how to prove the value, and we make sure that people look good along the way. We don't let people just go in and say, here's the tech and you should know how to use it. It's very much teasing out the value, proving that point, and not just saying, okay, it's a little bit better than the group call that we were running on a call like this. It's got to be something that didn't exist before or is causing real value change. And we've had some of our customers call it, look, it's those $100 million moments when in 5 minutes you can get the context across that makes the project happen faster. And it's really weird having people say, thanks for making my meeting shorter, because, you're jumping in for what would be a half-an-hour session or an hour session, and everyone's on the same page within the first half hour. Why? Because everyone wasn't working on different screens at once. Everyone was paying attention. And there's some of the small little things that come out of working this way.
Yeah. How do you think, because you've talked about now and you've painted quite an interesting picture of how you're addressing being a concierge in this way. How do you feel the remote work environment will evolve, and what role do you see your company playing in it?
Right now, we're going through not an age of remote work. We're going through something forced work from home, without all the benefits of schools being on, childcare being on. I'm just thinking of some of the gripes that people are not coming out saying this is our business problem. What I'm hearing on the other end of the call. From the last few months, what I really think the change is going to be, one, we don't have a clue. To be very, very clear, I think that's the only honest thing that anyone can say is we don't really fundamentally know exactly what's going to happen. What we can take fair guesses at is that remote work itself will probably, apart from becoming just work, which again, for some people, it's always been that. But I think in terms of the outcomes, people are going to think about how they spend their time an awful lot more. They're really going to, and I'm not just talking about, I'd like to have more hours in a day. I mean, is this the right way I want to be spending my time? And all these different bits and pieces. And I think the real core value from a work driver point of view, anything that was, on the fence or companies that weren't sure how they were working, they're being tested right now. So I think that in terms of how people work and how people communicate and collaborate in those two distinct fields is going through a renaissance moment in terms of recognizing what is good, what is bad, or being totally unself-aware, and all those learnings that are going to come over the next 3 to 6 to 24 months. But I think the knock-on effects for this are not just saying we're going to, as I read something this morning, we're going to quadruple remote work by 2024. Not going to, maybe might be misquoting, but whatever it was, these are fantastic numbers. But I think really what's going to come out of this is the idea of the locationless economy in terms of what happens when we try and link it all together and stop trying to treat this versus that and this versus this. It's going to be the societal impact as well as the economic. And those two things, from an entrepreneur's point of view, are never too far apart. Whether it's how many jobs have been created to how many new remote company or new companies are now remote or whatever the case may be. The point is, I think people have stepped up, and the fear is probably the most tangible thing I can put to that. The fear about, can our staff do this? Any company who's still standing today has to have figured that in some way, whether it's right, wrong, or whatever. And I think that from a financial decision point of view, that's where it's really getting interesting from a commercial real estate point of view. I am seeing people making decisions, say, example, in Dublin, we might have 2 or 3 companies on a certain street who have 2 buildings. When it comes back from this, it'll be 1 building, and it won't be 80% occupancy expected. It'll be 60%, 3 days a week rather than 4. Whatever way that all comes out, society is going to need to change to link in with that. And I'm talking a 4-day work week isn't your company just doing 4 days a week. It's also being able to say, right, we've got no school on Friday because we sync the schools to be in linked. And all these little things that are going to come out. That's what's going to be interesting when we get to that particular kind of future, when we are really syncing things in together.
Thank you, Johnny, for sharing your thoughts. As we see, modern organizations are now global organizations. With this, the focus is increasing on shared projects and on location-less work. Many organizations are now moving from should and might explore virtual reality to can and must use VR in order to get ahead of the pack. This is Meetingroom's province. Check them out on the RemoteCon website and tune in the conference for more remote work tools. Thank you.